It's time for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy. I am Star Claiborne.
And I am Anton Leonard Claiborne, and we are your global relationship strategists.
We live our marriage on the guided principle, no one or no thing.
So, take some time, listen, as we make sense of all of this.
All right, now today we're talking about why people tend to people are still trying to impress others. They're still trying to live, a fake lifestyle. They're still trying to live beyond their means, beyond their financial means, because they're trying to impress people. So we're going to talk about that. We're talking about this because we feel as though that's trying to live beyond your financial means, trying to be something that you're not. It's something that still affects entrepreneurs and people in love relationships, because those are two areas that we address. We think we need to talk about that issue. I made a post earlier about that same topic. In the post on my Facebook page, Anton Leonard Claiborne, if you want to go see the post, I mentioned how we need to just start living our lives and get rid of the expectations that we tend to try to live up to because we're trying to impress our friends or our family members. We need to just start living our lives in the way that is best for us. I mentioned in the post, you don't need a 70-inch TV to watch the game. You can get by with something much smaller than a 70-inch television. Why go out and spend almost $1,000 on a 70-inch TV when you can see the same game on a 40-inch TV?
Right, unless it's something you really want.
Yes, unless it's something you really want. But to go out and spend, that extra money just because you want to try and impress your friends, because they're coming over to watch the game, that's foolish. It's not necessary to do that. They knew that you didn't have a 70-inch before you invited them over, so why go out and spend that extra money just because you want to, make a good impression on your friends? It's not necessary.
Yeah, and speaking of our friends, one of the conversations I had with another mom, and she's married. Obviously, I'm married, and one of the conversations we had was, why do we try to always clean up? Seriously,
True.
We have young kids, we have kids. Why is it necessary that we have to always clean up before company comes?
Right, especially if the company that's coming over have children.
They know that we have kids. They know that there's going to be toys. They know that things are going to be slightly out of place, probably a little more than slightly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the point in really trying to clean up when you know that you're just doing it for the time being? And guess what? You're probably just pushing everything all in one room. And if you're a mom, you already know how that is. Everything goes in one room until company leaves, right? And then you end up bringing it right back out because you have kids. Kids are going to be kids. And that was one of the frustrations that I had with this mom. We really discussed this frustration. Like, we were trying to impress the other friends trying to come over, and then we said, forget it. And it felt so much better.
It felt better because they got rid of that stress factor. Trying to impress people, it increases your levels of stress.
Yes.
You don't need to put yourself through that type of emotional turmoil just because you're trying to put up a front. It's not necessary. And the thing is, if they are a real friend of yours, they're not going to make a big deal about your house being a little messy because they know you have children. So they're not concerned about that. So all of the times when when some people are constantly apologizing for the way their house looks, they need to stop it. It's just not necessary. And besides, if the person really felt uncomfortable, they probably wouldn't come there to visit.
That is true.
That's something to think about.
That is true. That is very true. But just man, it was really it was really freeing. Very freeing. And now
wait.
We're not saying don't clean your house.
Right.
Okay?
That's what I was about to say. We're not saying don't clean your house. We're not saying
messy,
don't be
messy and not clean, and dirty. That's nasty. That's those are different.
Right. You don't want your house.
You don't want your house
filthy.
nasty.
Right.
We didn't say don't wipe down. Don't use some
right.
bleach or whatever green plant products that you use to clean your home.
Right.
We're just saying that when there's toys out and you have children, leave the toys. Your kids are still in the home. So there is a time for that. There's a time for everything, and I believe there's a time for putting the toys away.
Right.
If you're having company and your kids are still going to be around, what is the point? Right? What's the point? Right. Why do you keep picking up and having that issue? But even in relationships, trying to give expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite is if you haven't heard the CD, Stop Bringing Your Representative.
Oh, that one.
I'll let you talk about that. Yeah, that one.
Well, yeah, when you're trying to live up to expectations, you are presenting your representative. You're presenting that false version of your. I see it, version. You're presenting that. You're presenting that false version of yourself. and people don't need to see that, especially if it's somebody you're trying to establish a business relationship with. Mm-hmm. You do not want your representative to be present when you're trying to make a business connection with someone.
And the other thing is, a lot of times when we try too hard to make an impression, people can tell.
Yes,
they know, they can tell, and it can throw them off more than anything. And for those people who aren't able to pick up on it prior to jumping into that business relationship or love relationship with you, it really only causes more turmoil at the end of the day. Because once they find out the real you, then now you have this lying situation that's on the table.
Right. And people will sense when you're being fake. Mm-hmm. They may not say it in front of you that they feel like you're being fake, but after they leave your presence, they'll say, yeah, I just don't feel like he was being real, or I just felt like she was trying to be something that she's not. She wasn't being genuine. She wasn't being sincere. All of that just basically means that they felt you were being fake.
I think a lot of times we try to impress people just because of what we're taught as we're growing up. Here we go, going back to that past again. Everything that happens now still brings up something from the past. Mm-hmm. And it comes from, when you're at your place of business, it's, oh, you shouldn't act this way, or you shouldn't act that way. But what I've come to learn, even in business, is it depends on your role.
Yes.
The role that I have at my current position, no one would ever expect me to be as silly as I am in this role, but I have to be because I'm a director of sales. People want to really know me and my true personality. They don't want the corporate stiff personality, right? So even in your business, especially as entrepreneurs, it's not a thing where people, a lot of people transition from corporate and go into entrepreneurship, mm-hmm. thinking that they're supposed to be this corporate person. That's what they expect, when in actuality, in the world of entrepreneurship, people want to know you. People want to know the real personality that is sitting behind you. Like, who are right. you? Not what is it that you've learned and been taught, or how you've been taught to act, so to speak. Who are you, and what's the fun side of you? What do you like to do? They want to know the real you. So,
right.
We have to release a lot of the things that we were told in the past as far as how to act, how to respond to certain things, because that throws people off, and you don't feel it. You don't even feel it. You hear it. You've grown up with these words of how people tell you how to act, But then when you go so long with it, you start feeling uncomfortable. And when you start feeling uncomfortable, you know that that's not the way you should really be responding, because you're doing it out of expectations of what other people think, what you want other people to think about you.
Right.
And in actuality, like we were saying, some people see straight through that and they know it's not you. And I can honestly tell you, I've coached several people who have been in that position in entrepreneurship where they've had a certain personality and portrayed a certain personality, but it was because they didn't realize they weren't being their true self. And once they were able to release the fun side of themselves, it just felt so much better for them, because they had this expectation that they had to be corporate, they had to be stiff, they had to be that individual, when the only thing they needed to do was release their own personality.
Wow, you made a good point with the only thing they need to do is release their own personality. One thing that I've learned over the years, and this is relevant, this will be relevant for entrepreneurs. When you first meet someone, regardless of how much we say this, we make a judgment when we meet that person for the first time.
We do.
The best thing you can do as an entrepreneur is present your real self. Present your true personality. That way, if they decide to do business with you, you don't have to try and make any changes to try and live up to their expectations. They will have already met the real you. And so that's what they're going to expect from that moment on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, just in overall, the whole idea of trying to live up to someone else's expectations it's stressful. It's really stressful, because if you really start to become someone who you are not.
You begin to.
You adapt these ways. You adapt this other personality that you have no idea even about that personality. You
want to know another thing also for you entrepreneurs? When a person decides to do business with you, they're making that decision based on what they've seen.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons they're making their decision. They're making the decision to do business with you based on what they have seen you doing. And so if you probably were doing something and you were being a little silly and fun, and they saw that, they probably decided to do business with you based on your silliness, your sense of humor.
Exactly. And the person who you're supposed to work with, it will come together if you show your true personality.
Yes.
There have been so many entrepreneurs that, I mean, just from meeting them, I can tell you, no, I don't want to work with them, because I know my personality, and I don't want the person that's all about business and that's all we talk about, and that's I mean, they're just so straight, just stiff. I don't want that type of work environment when I'm working on a project or anything. But I want to work with people who have a personality, and I know this. So if I don't see you smiling and laughing and you're just, straight face every conversation we have, it's going to be very, very hard for me to work with you. And I have honestly said no to quite a few people because I knew that I would not be able to work with that personality. I have to have fun.
Yeah.
I have to have fun, and I need someone else that knows how to have fun while they're working too.
It makes a big difference in the productivity of the business collaboration. When you're having fun, it changes the whole atmosphere. It makes you want to be there in that moment when you add a little bit of fun to it, especially if it's what some people might consider to be a very serious business environment. Bringing in a little bit of fun will help everyone else in the room to relax a little bit, and that's what you want. You want people to be relaxed when they are around you. You want people to be relaxed so that they can perform better. Trying to perform when you're stressed is not a good idea.
Right.
Trying to perform when you're feeling when you are emotionally unstable, it's not a good idea. You want people to be very relaxed so that they will be at their performing at their peak.
Yes. And some of you are probably wondering, okay, well, what about family? Well, guess what? It applies to them too.
Yes, it does.
I'm just saying, it
Yes.
really does. You will always be criticized for something from somewhere.
Facts. That is true.
You will always be criticized for something from somewhere, and
so you may as well just be who you are.
Unfortunately, a lot of times family is going to be the first one to criticize you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's partly due to the fact that you're not like them, so they think, or you just react differently than they do. And because they taught you certain things in certain ways. But what they did not know was your true personality. They wanted you to become like them.
Right.
Instead of helping you to learn yourself and be yourself and grow into yourself. And that's where the real problem comes in when it comes to family. Not to say they don't care about you, not to say they don't love you, but they don't know any other way to respond except that this is not what you've been taught.
Right.
So when it comes to family, it's unfortunate, but yes, this applies to family too. You know, stop. That's one of the worst things that you can do is live up to the expectations of your family, because we don't want to disrespect our parents, our grandparents, brothers, sisters. We don't want to disrespect them, but okay, I'm going to say this. I don't know how many people are going. This is really like the whole impression thing. Like, I'm going to say this. The question is, are we disrespecting them or are they disrespecting us? So think about that when you try to live up to someone else's expectations, because again, we're taught to be like them. We're taught these certain things that we need to do in order to, I guess, succeed in life according to them, right? But we're not disrespecting anyone. We're respecting ourselves by being who we are. So you have to ask yourself, are we disrespecting them or are they disrespecting us? And again, they may not know. You know, you don't hold them accountable. They don't know, you know, but you have to ask yourself that when you're trying to hold it, you know, impress other people. Not just with family, but it does apply to family. And maybe that's just one way, because I know with family it's harder. It's harder for us to it's harder for us to accept the fact that we're doing things differently than the way we were taught.
Right.
So one of the best ways is to ask that question.
Yeah, and if you realize that they are disrespecting you, don't feel bad about it. Continue being you. Continue being yourself, because you have taken the steps to be who you are. It will be easier for you to address whatever questions they have for you when they ask you, why are you doing that? I didn't teach you that. Okay, well, I understand you didn't teach me that, but I'm doing this because this is who I am.
And this is what makes me happy.
And this is what makes me happy. Those are the type of responses you will be able to give them, and you will be able to give those responses with 100% confidence and comfort, because you're not lying. You're giving them 100%. You're giving them 100% truth about who you are.
Right.
If they can't accept that, then you don't need to be bothered with them.
Yeah.
If they really love you as a family member, if they really love you as a friend, they will accept your answer as what it is.
Yes.
And continue being there with you as you go on living your life, being your true self.
Because remember one thing, people who really care about you, people who really want to be around you, they will not bring negativity into your circle.
They won't do it. Matter of fact, they will try to help keep negativity out of your circle.
Exactly. So, yeah, I can see us going on about this.
Yeah,
so
we could. So the whole point of this presentation from CICG is to remind you, stop trying to impress people.
Whether it's relationships, family, business, it doesn't matter. Your career, your jobs, be who you are going to be.
Be who you're going to be.
Is that person bringing negative energy? And again, are you disrespecting them by being who you are, or are they disrespecting you by not accepting it and making you become someone who you're not? You know, this is a real question you have to ask yourself when you encounter these type of situations.
Yes, it is.
And one more thing, just to touch on this real quick, because this was a real question that I had as far as the respect, and that's the exact answer I gave them. They went back to the Bible that said, you know, honor thy mother and thy father, you know, and this is a real conversation that I had with them, and it really was a situation of whether or not, yes, we should respect our parents, but what does honor really mean? That's number one. But we need to respect our parents just the same. Why can they not respect us? Why is it that it's okay for them to disrespect us by not accepting who we are, right? So you have to think about these questions, think about these things as you go through.
You do. And to add to that, if after you realize they are not respecting you, you may have to turn away from your family members, even if it's your mother and your father, even if it's someone you dearly love as a family member. It's okay to walk away. And
walking away is better than actually standing and arguing. So
yes,
the arguing part, that's the disrespect. Going back and forth with, you know, a family member, that's disrespectful to you and your time and who you really are, and it's disrespectful to them. So it's better to just walk away. You will find yourself in a more respectful position if you just walk away and let it go and just continue to be who you are.
That's right. Because the fact of the matter is, they're not going to be there living your life for you. You have to live your life for you. And if you are a parent, that especially rings true for you and your children. You have to live your life for you and your family. You can't continue to try to live up to the expectations your mother or father have put on you. You now have your own family. You have your own children. So if your parents are still trying to get you to do things their way, and they're just not trying to listen to you, no matter how many times you try to explain to them, just walk away. Walk away in the most respectful manner you can. And, you know, if they try and contact you again at a later date, don't respond to the phone call unless you are sure you are ready to talk to them again. That's some of the best advice I could give you to help you maintain your sanity. Because if you pick up that phone, but you're still harboring anger from that previous conversation, yeah, you're just going to pick up where you left off, arguing again. So if you have to turn away from them while they're trying to get you to do things the way that they say do it, just leave it alone. Walk away.
And one of the things we know is that, yes, there are things that our parents teach us that are clearly good things.
Yes.
And we know.
But you know what, though?
But we know when we make another decision opposite of what we've been, you know, what they expect us to do, we will know right away from that intuition whether or not that is really what we're supposed to be doing, and you then have to accept the consequence behind that. So don't take this out of context of what we're saying. You know, just be smart about your choices and just don't try to do things just to impress someone.
It all boils down to, and this is what I was going to try and throw in there real quick. It all comes down to knowing thyself.
Yes.
Knowing who you are. Because once you leave your parents' home, you are then responsible for you. You then have to take on the You then have to take on the job of learning who you are. So then, when it's time for you to start living your life you will live your life in the way that is best for you. Not what anyone else wants you to do. You'll be living it how you want to live it because you know that's the way that's best for you. Know thyself.
Yes.
So that guiding principle has been around for millennia, but
But a lot of people don't know themselves.
A lot of people don't know themselves, and they don't take the time to try to know who they are. And that's just something that people choose not to do. So, to help you do that, we made this presentation. This presentation is for you if you want to live your life the way you want to live it. One of the things you can do to help you live your life the way you want to live it is stop trying to impress people.
If you don't have the money to buy it, don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But take responsibility for the actions that occur if you decide not to do it.
Right. So by no longer trying to impress people, you will be able to save yourself some money.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. You out there trying to buy a huge feast because you've asked people to come over because you're gonna pull out the grill and cook some food. Why? Why are you trying to buy a feast for 20, 30 people, but you only have like 5 people coming over? Why? You don't have to do that. Just get what you can afford and do your best to make it into a good meal for your friends.
So stop trying to impress people. I'm done.
Stop trying to impress people. It'll save you money. It'll save you. It'll help preserve your physical health because it'll cut down on your physical and emotional stress. On that note, remember, if you want to live your best life, if you want to live your best life, stop trying to impress people. You good?
I said I wasn't saying anything else. I'm done.
Oh, you did say that, didn't you? All right. So, thank you for joining us, everyone.
That wraps it up for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Claiborne Coaching. Download the podcast Love, Marriage, and Fantasy and look us up on Facebook at Claiborne Coaching.
All right, so we'll see you next time.